Very, very few topics fascinate me more than, frankly, dominance within the buck hierarchy. And just to confuse the issue a little bit right off the bat, everybody knows about that dominant buck. Dominance occurs between doe family groups every bit as much as it does between bucks. So, everybody talks about the dominant buck. That's kind of a misnomer in that dominance is more fluid than most people give it credit for. It's kind of, here's how I envision it. I envision it as an Egyptian pyramid, with the very top level of stones being the dominant buck on that property at that time. Okay, you go one layer below him though, and guess what? Those bucks there may only be one truly dominant buck, but there may be 3-4 that are just right below him. Well, they are submissive or subordinate to that dominant buck, and may be dominant or subordinate to the bucks on their level, generally pretty darn even, and so it's going to waffle day to day, and then they're dominant over all of these bucks below them, and each level you go down, the number of bucks are that much higher. Here's the catch. It's not written in stone like those pyramids were. It's more fluid. So you take that one dominant buck. Let's say he goes ahead and gets in a fight during the rut. He gets injured. I'll tell you what, the difference between, in many cases, the difference between that dominant buck and the bucks right below him, not much. So once he gets injured, boom, he's taken over just like that very often. There's fluidity, it changes. If you ever wonder how much social stress impacts all of this, for those of you who are able to observe your deer, watch what happens to those bucks that are right here when that buck on the very top gets killed that year. When that buck gets killed, one thing that's going to happen almost always within a week to 2 weeks max, often within a day or two, is there was a reason that dominant buck was bedded here. There was a reason he was staging here, and there was a reason he was feeding here. If you kill him, that next one in line almost always takes his place, unless something major changes, because that dominant buck, what comes with dominance? Dominance means you rule the roost. You have the pick over absolutely anything within the whitetail world that you want, because you are the man and no one's going to stop you. So you select the best bedding area you possibly can that gives you every advantage better than any other location around you can provide. You select the best staging area, the best water source, the best food source that fits your needs. Every deer is different, but they all pretty much want and need the same thing. So you remove that dominant buck, and that next one in line almost always takes his place. And that next year, those bucks right here, if you have the opportunity to observe it, so a disproportionately high amount of time those bucks literally explode. It's all because of the dominant structure within whitetails. Study it, understand it, and it's going to unlock a whole bunch of doors for you. Dominance is truly a fascinating subject when it comes to the whitetail world. I vision it much like a pyramid, with the top buck being the very top stones on that pyramid, and each level we go down, there is more deer in that level. Okay, and because of health, because of injuries, because of fighting, because of temperament, it changes. It's not 100% static. It's a little bit more fluid than we give it credit for. And lastly, remember, even when that mature, dominant, truly dominant buck is killed, that doesn't mean his bedding area, his staging area, and food plots are no longer good locations, because guess what? 9 times out of 10, the next buck in line is just going to step up and fill that void.